An 8-year-old autistic girl vanishes from a motel. Police arrive to find no search party, no frantic mother, and a story that doesn't add up. But when they interview her 6-year-old sister, they hear something that changes everything. She went to the Bad Kids Hospital. On November 21st, 2021, Gwinnett County Police received a 911 call from Battered Hall, reporting her 8-year-old daughter, Nicole Amari Hall, missing from their extended stay motel. Amari was autistic and nonverbal in stressful situations. The temperature was dropping, and officers knew every hour that passed reduced their chances of finding her alive. They arrived expecting a frantic search scene, but instead found confusion and conflicting stories. The mother and her partner, Celeste Owens, gave vague accounts of the child's disappearance. Something about the scene felt wrong to the responding officers. There was no organized search. No neighbors had been alerted. No one was outside calling the girl's name. The investigation began immediately, with officers searching the motel grounds and surrounding businesses. But Amari was nowhere to be found. Her family had been living in isolation for months with little contact with the outside world. The investigation quickly revealed troubling inconsistencies. Celeste Owens claimed she had been with her sister on the day Amari disappeared, but her sister denied this. Surveillance footage from the motel and nearby businesses showed no sign of Amari leaving the building. There was no footage of Battered Hall searching for her daughter. The timeline began to fall apart as detectives pressed for details. Officers interviewed the two younger siblings, 6-year-old Zaira and 5-year-old Jakari. What they heard was disturbing beyond words. The children spoke of a bad kids hospital where misbehaving children were sent. Celeste had used this story to explain Amari's absence. The children believed their sister had been taken to this place. Detectives recognized this as a fabricated cover story designed to prevent the younger children from asking questions about their sister. The surveillance evidence proved devastating to the family's narrative. Cameras captured Celeste Owens renting a U-Haul truck on November 19th, 2 days before the 911 call. Cell phone pings placed her at the motel, then at the rental location, then traveling to neighboring DeKalb County. Flock camera systems captured the truck's license plate at multiple locations. When she returned, the truck was empty. Police knew they were no longer dealing with a missing person case. The evidence pointed to a cover-up and a disposed body. The transition from a search to a homicide investigation was announced publicly. The police chief delivered the grim news with visible emotion. All hands had been on deck. Hundreds of officers had searched, but they were searching for a body, not a living child. The family's lies had been exposed. The interrogation of Celeste Owens revealed more deception. She denied any involvement in Amari's disappearance. She called the 6-year-old's testimony lies. She claimed the child simply didn't like when she got angry. Detectives pressed harder, presenting evidence of her movements and her phone activity. The children had described watching their sister being put into a container with a lid. They described being driven somewhere in a trunk. The details matched the physical evidence police were gathering. Celeste maintained her innocence, but her body language told a different story. She grew defensive. She attempted to deflect. The walls were closing in, and everyone in that interrogation room knew it. The evidence was becoming overwhelming, and the search for Amari's body was expanding into the neighboring county where Celeste had traveled. The surviving children's testimony was the most compelling evidence in the case. The 6-year-old sister described the final night of Amari's life in heartbreaking detail. Amari had gone to the bathroom. When she came out, Celeste forced toilet paper into her mouth. The child recounted seeing this happen. She described how Amari refused to wake up the next morning. The children then watched their sister being placed into a container and driven away. Celeste had used the Bad Kids Hospital as a threat for months. The phrase was designed to instill fear and silence questions. But the child's testimony revealed the truth behind the lie. She spoke of being forced to look at walls. She described no toys, no television, no comfort. The children slept on the floor without pillows or blankets. Their existence in that motel room was one of deprivation and cruelty. The digital evidence collected from Celeste's phone was damning. She had conducted multiple internet searches on November 19th that revealed her state of mind. She searched how sewers work on streets. She searched why kids run away. She searched how to report someone missing. She searched what to do when a loved one goes missing. She searched why it's so hard to find missing people. She searched for lakes near her location. These searches demonstrated consciousness of guilt and premeditation. All of these searches were deleted from her phone, but forensic investigators recovered them. The timing matched the U-Haul rental and the trip to DeKalb County. Celeste had researched how to dispose of a body and how to explain a disappearance. The evidence was building a clear picture of someone who had planned to cover up a murder. On November 23, 2021, the search ended tragically. Amari Hall's body was discovered in a wooded area in DeKalb County, near the Stone Mountain Freeway. She was found wrapped in garbage bags, naked, and discarded like refuse. The body had been carried off the road and deeper into the woods, hidden from view. The medical examiner's report revealed the full horror of what Amari had endured. She had been beaten to death. Multiple blunt force injuries had caused her death. She was malnourished and showed signs of battered child syndrome. This condition describes children who have been abused over time, with injuries in multiple stages of healing. Amari had suffered repeated trauma. She had not died from a single incident. The cruelty had been ongoing. Her injuries were catastrophic. Celeste Owens' trial began with a shocking revelation from the prosecution. More than a dozen videos on Celeste's own phone showed the abuse. The videos recorded Celeste and Brittany Hall striking the children, punishing them in cruel ways. One video showed Amari being slapped so hard, her head swung back. Another showed Brittany stomping on her own daughter. The videos were described as 90 seconds of the life Amari lived in the care of this defendant. The defense argued there was no direct evidence Celeste delivered the fatal blow, but the circumstantial evidence was overwhelming. The videos, the cell phone searches, the U-Haul rental, the testimony of the surviving children, the timeline. The evidence showed a pattern of cruelty that ended in murder. The prosecution presented a strong case that left little room for doubt. The testimony of Amari's 9-year-old sister was the emotional core of the trial. She testified off camera for her protection. The girl described living conditions that shocked the courtroom. The children slept on floors without pillows. They had no toys and no television. They spent their days looking at walls. She described being hit, being punished, and being afraid. She described the night her sister died. The courtroom listened in silence as she spoke. The girl's testimony was described as wildly impactful. Children of that age are less likely to lie. She had suffered enormous trauma and described it with clarity. Her words painted a picture of a household ruled by fear and cruelty. The jury saw the photos of bruises on her back, her face, her body. The evidence of abuse was unmistakable. The sentencing brought a measure of justice to this tragic case. Celeste Owens was found guilty on all counts. The judge described the case as the most heinous evil he had seen in 25 years. The sentence was life without parole, plus 235 years. Amari's grandmother spoke of her broken heart and her lost granddaughter. She described Amari as vibrant and happy, a girl who loved to play dress-up and help in the kitchen. The 2 surviving children now live with their grandparents. They are safe and loved. Brittany Hall remains incarcerated awaiting her own trial. Her case was severed from Celeste's because she blamed Celeste in her second statement to police. The prosecution continues to pursue justice in her case. Amari's story is a reminder that evil can hide behind closed doors.